Republican Congressman Byron Donalds, who supported Kevin McCarthy in the early ballots, broke with him on the third ballot, then became a speaker candidate himself. How are you, sir?
Doing good. A little tired, but doing good.
I could understand that, being a little tired. So, as I mentioned, my first question is, what made you break with McCarthy on that third ballot? Then we saw your name float as a potential speaker, and now, to update everyone, you're back to supporting McCarthy. But when you broke on the third ballot, what were you saying with that vote?
Well, I think going back to that day, at that point it was clear we were pretty deadlocked. And my primary function coming to Congress is to make sure that, one, the People's House works, is functional, and it accomplishes things that further the lives of the American people and our republic. But we were deadlocked at that point. I felt that at that point, maybe some adjustments were needed. Now, through that process, what we were able to accomplish is negotiations in good faith to bring members to the table so that we could see a pathway for Leader McCarthy to become Speaker McCarthy. And so I think what we've been able to get done these last couple of days is really, really critical, not just for that with respect to Kevin McCarthy, but to turn the People's House into what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, let me jump in.
An open institution where members have an opportunity to legislate for their citizens.
Let me jump in, and I know your staff told us you guys may be short on time, but to jump in, you're in this interesting spot, Congressman, because you were, as I said, Team McCarthy, but you were popular enough with the so-called rebels, or whatever we call them, that they were voting en masse for you as a speaker alternative. So it puts you in between the two. Someday, when there's more time, you could tell us how you got so popular on both sides. But my question to you, sir, is if they were supporting you then, and now you're back with McCarthy, does that mean your hat is out of the ring for a potential speaker going forward? You're fully Team McCarthy now?
Well, first of all, it's a popularity that's probably my winning smile, so I'll start there.
Okay.
But secondarily, and more importantly, this is not, I mean, use the word you use, rebels is not the appropriate word. Members who are voting no against Kevin McCarthy are not that. They are people who passionately care about America, passionately care about this institution, and want to see some major changes. Take a step back for a moment. This place for the past 50 years has consistently put more power into the hands of the Speaker of the House. That's not against Kevin McCarthy. That's an indictment of the process. And so what we have been able to achieve is getting to a place where all members of Congress have the ability to actually do the work on behalf of the people who sent them.
I'm only jumping
That's what this is about.
To stay with you. So I think what you said was obviously factual. Consolidation of power in the speakership, or less power in the speakership, which is some of what the demands were. Does that now satisfy you where you will stay on Team McCarthy, or you could be a candidate for speaker again if he can't get the votes?
No. I think those days are done, and I think we're going to go ahead and bring this to a close. I fully anticipate that.
Now, here's the big question then, and I appreciate your frank answer on that. Because of the credibility you apparently have with some of those folks, whatever we call them, because I don't want to do labels, with the, let's just say, people who aren't currently voting for McCarthy, do you think there's any of them that can move? Can any of those five move? Are you trying to move any of them on behalf of Leader McCarthy?
Well, look, I think those things are possible, but I do want to respect those members of Congress. One of the things I try to pride myself on is not revealing those conversations. But what I can tell you is that right now members are having those conversations, try to find a way to bring this to a close.
Understood, and I understood there's also a process to that. Take a listen to Fox News' Sean Hannity, who has generally been very supportive of a lot of Republican initiatives. But here's what he says partly about some of the folks you just referred to.
These, quote, never Kevins, whatever you want to call them, they don't have a plan to install another speaker. As a matter of fact, almost every day they nominate somebody else. It's kind of time that they start getting to work. They are supposed to be public servants. They are to serve you, the public, that put them in office, that gave them the opportunity to lead. At some point in the near future, House Republicans will need to put aside their differences and actually govern.
Is he wrong?
Say again, is he wrong?
Is he wrong?
No, what I would say is that we're in fact doing a lot of the things that he suggested. We are getting down to an ability where we can effectively govern on behalf of the American people. Look, make no mistake about it. And like I said previously, having too much power in the hands of the Speaker of the House is something that has actually been detrimental to the legislative process in the House, and something that has upset rank and file members, whether they are Republicans or Democrats. That is a fact. And so through this process, which, by the way, has been deliberative, has been open, and actually reflects the democracy that all of us hold dear, this has actually given us the ability to get to a place where you're going to have a more open process. I think that's a good thing, even though it took us a little time to get here.
And you referred to the process and the concessions that the group has obtained. For folks watching this at home who don't follow the parliamentary procedure all the time, what has been delivered to the American public? What would improve their lives out of this process this week and these rule proposals?
Well, one of the big things is about being able to have amendments towards appropriation packages, something that has largely been shut down in this place. We just saw the $1.7 trillion omnibus deal that was basically cut between 3 people on Capitol Hill. I mean, there's 535 members of Congress. 3 people got in the room and cut a deal. That is obscene to me. That's why I did not support that package in part. There were many other reasons. So what we have done is given ability to members, Republicans or Democrats, to bring amendments to the floor. That directly helps the people that we all serve that have all elected us. That and many other things is good. Number 2, and there's been much talk about this motion to vacate, and I believe that people have looked at this completely wrong. This is something that has given every member the ability to do until the beginning of the 116th Congress before Nancy Pelosi removed it. It had been around for 100 years.
Well, I know you have to go, Congressman. That came up earlier. I'll give you the benefit of responding. The point we raised earlier on the program was certainly true. It used to be a thing, but there didn't used to be as many people constantly threatening the speaker with it. I guess for the benefit of your response, and I know you got to go, is what do you say to the critics who say, yeah, in the old days, there was more comity. Now you have these threats all the time, and that's governing by a veto of any member of Congress.
What I would say is that it's in some respects reflective of the angst amongst the American people, because let's be clear. There are serious issues in America. We all know that. And a core of those issues is the fact that Washington is broken and has been unresponsive for far too long. So if there are mechanisms that are needed in order to reopen the People's House to address those issues, members of Congress have a responsibility to seek the ends so we can govern appropriately.
Congressman Byron Donalds, on a busy night, I appreciate you making time to join us on the beat, sir.
Anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.